Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishna. Here basically we are discussing the topic that is city creation. In this the topic is going that America basically government basically will do our task basically. Now one of the person told that yeah, in America how many people died basically? Do you know basically in Corona? Then he told yes, yeah basically. There is no count only basically because more than I think 1 crore people basically died. But on paper something else basically is there. That basically whatever things basically is on paper basically that is not 100% correct basically. So like this basically they have done the task of India and then basically 1 crore people basically they lost. Like this basically the America ki dadagiri finished. Because there are more than 1 crore people basically died. But America says that basically we don't have any option basically. We will finish our entire America, but we will do the task of India basically. We will finish entire America basically, but we are going to keep doing the task of India basically, Indian government basically. That basically for few American people basically say that because we don't have any option basically. That basically also basically they say basically. Then few American people told that basically that we don't have any option basically. Because we have only one source of income, that is the software industry, and software industry basically will stop using our software, then basically it's a huge loss to the USA only basically. Huge loss to the USA only basically. Few people says that basically, whether it is correct or I don't know basically. Microsoft basically duplicate Microsoft has already launched into the market basically in India basically. Then few people said that how you can say that basically. Then one of the person told that, do you know basically each and every operating system in this world basically that are open source basically. Then he told that yes, that we know basically. Each and every operating system. So Microsoft is also open source basically. So Microsoft give the control to the India basically. They modifies the change basically according to the current environment basically. And according to the current environment basically they dumps the operating system. For that basically what they do basically. For that they hire Indian professional only basically. Because Indian professional are only going to handle that basically. Indian professional are only going to handle that basically situation. If they are basically launching their product into Pakistan, then basically the Pakistani professional basically are there. If they are launching into the Bangladesh, then Bangladeshi professional basically are going to there. So one of the person told that basically, then how basically Microsoft is keeping the control of each and every country are basically. Because it's basically huge thing na basically. Then they told that basically they have drawn certain level of boundaries basically. That boundary means how they draw the boundary. How they basically draw the boundary. Then they told that basically, for example, I will take one example. The technical example basically. There is one user control created. User control have 15 to 16 properties and 17 to 18 functions basically. And that user control basically can't be modified. Whatever things you have to do, that basically you have to do this in property and function only basically. So exactly same way basically, if they are passing the Microsoft product basically into the India basically, they basically have given set of properties and set of functions control basically that you have to do. You can do this many things only basically. The reason they have the data of each and every creation basically, which is created in India basically. Example is 1000 city equal to text box basically. This type of data basically American people basically have it basically. Then he knows that yes basically they have the data basically. So like this basically they keeps the control basically. So like this basically America is few people say that basically America is dependent on the India basically, but slowly basically they are leaving the dependency basically. Because after the 1 crore people died basically, Lots of things basically has changed basically. So one of the person told that basically, if in America basically one person also basically dies na basically, they shouts and they basically creates they basically do the advertising to whole world basically our one person basically has died basically. So here basically it's 1 crore basically. Like this basically they are not taking any action basically. One of the person told that basically. And the situation basically like that basically, the American president and Indian president, Indian prime minister basically both are friend basically. So in friendship basically, few people basically say that basically American president is going to give entire America to India basically. You do one thing, you finish entire America, we don't have any option basically. Then basically one of the public of the USA basically told that basically, like this basically you can't do it basically, yeah. Like this basically you can't do it basically. Like this basically you can't do basically in the America basically. That friendship is here basically in different way basically, and the public basically is totally into different way basically. So like this basically also things basically happen basically. Like this basically, one day one of the person told that America can also become Gaza basically, but they also have the control basically, that they basically is not supposed to become Gaza. They have also don't, they might have thought basically up to depth level basically. If Indian government basically can think up to this level basically, they are basically digital world basically. They might have thought up to that level basically. One of the person told that basically, police group basically have control up to certain level, right? Basically, cyber cell is also basically controlled by the police group only basically. Then it told that yes, basically each and every basically things basically happens activity in the internet basically. They keeps on doing registering case, this, that basically each and everything basically they do basically. Like this basically they said that basically they passes the data to the human resource department also basically. That is the HRD department of the Indian government, which data basically is accessed by the each and every human resource department. That is the Aadhaar card and the PAN card basically. Sometimes they ask the Aadhaar card and PAN card and passport number also basically sometimes they ask. There only basically they say that basically we have basically done blacklist to that particular person basically. So you basically, if you are sitting in the internet now basically, that also has become problem basically to the public basically. So one of the internet provider basically told that basically something basically we are also washing out basically. It's not like that basically we are washing not anything basically out. Because if you are sitting in the internet basically, if you are clicking there also basically something basically crimes happens basically. This type of basically the cyber law basically is created by the cyber industry basically. So if you are sitting in the laptop, in the computer basically, that converts to the war basically. And computer basically is created by whom basically? USA basically. India has given contract to USA basically. Like this, if anybody say that basically, yeah, these groups basically are creating lots of problem, then basically Indian government will say that basically America is doing, we are not doing this. Like this, basically they escape from the data. So Gaza is not going to create like India basically. India is not going to create like a Gaza basically. One of the political person told that basically, that we have done up to that level planning basically, that India will never become Gaza. No missile is going to be dumped into the India basically. Few people say that basically, sometimes basically you speak this type of thing basically, they damage your head also basically. That also basically will become one day Gaza basically. That area basically from this head damage happened basically just now. So one of the person told that basically, each and every activities which thing basically we are doing basically, that connects into the cyber law only basically. So you basically what you will do basically by sitting the computer basically. So in next video basically we are going to see a little bit more about the cyber laws basically.